Yo, what's good, everybody? I appreciate y'all tuning in this long. Hopefully, you got a long weekend. Hopefully, y'all ain't got to go to work tomorrow, and y'all got some extra time off during the week. I'm Marcus, the debt free dad. Over here, we talk finances and attorney reactions. And this is going to be an interesting video because we're going to talk about three specific things. We're going to talk about, well, we're going to circle back and talk about some squatters. We're going to look at the worst squatters, probably in the history of squatters. Well, second worst squatters, probably in the history of squatters. And we're going to talk about a scam that's out there. There's a little bit of I guess a remix on an old scam that we have saw before. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share this content, bell notification, all of that stuff. Not selling you anything. Just want to, talk a little bit of finances, current events, let y'all know what finessing is going on out there. So, I mean, more importantly than that, y'all can actually make moves to avoid it. Now, a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, we went down this road of talking about squatters because there was just some crazy, wild squatter stories out there that we covered. A homeowner who got arrested for changing the locks, trying to keep squatters out. New York, of course, New York, the lovely New York City. Another instance of two squatters who actually deleted a lady and stole her car. And so, we were just talking about how terrible these squatter laws were. Squatter laws essentially came from some old school archaic laws back in the day when people would go out into the wilderness and not come back because they got mauled by a bear or shot out in the wild west, and the squatter would obtain rights after occupying a property for a certain amount of time. These old archaic laws are still on the books, and we saw in New York, Florida, Georgia, you name it, we seen with people, bum ass people were finessing the system and taking advantage of these laws. The real thing that they were using, essentially, especially in New York, squatters would establish rights after 30 days. So when a homeowner got there, the homeowner called the cops. You know what that mean? The cops was like, hey, if the squatter said they were there for 30 days, the cops will say you have to go to court, and that costs time and money. So you're talking about a squatter coming to take a home that you legally own. They occupy it for months while you're in court, losing time, effort, energy, and finances, trying to get them out to finally get them evicted. But Florida, shout out to Florida. If you're from Florida, drop FL in the comments. Florida actually got a law right. Florida was the first state that essentially introduced state legislation to nix these squatter rights and to increase criminal penalties for squatters. So we saw Florida do it. Then late to the party was New York, Georgia. Other people took advantage. Well, now that these states have these new squatter laws that allow law enforcement to actually issue criminal citations, either misdemeanors or in some cases, certain cases, felonies. We're going to take a look to see how Georgia is attacking this new squatter laws head on to protect homeowners. And we're going to read a story about a terrible set of squatters in Georgia. And then we're going to circle back around to a remix of a scam that we have saw before. So buckle your seat in. If you see something that you like, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in.
New at 5. Georgia's new tougher penalties against squatters are now the law of the land.
The new law comes after a series of Channel 2 Action News investigations exposed the loophole squatters were taking advantage of. Now, consumer investigator Justin Gray is looking into how local police departments are using their new powers to criminally charge squatters.
Karen, we've been reaching out to police departments, solicitors general, and local magistrates about this to see if criminal citations are now being written to squatters. Many of the departments tell us they are still trying to figure out how all this is going to work, but South Fulton has already created a special task force just to go after squatters, armed with the authority of this new law.
First of all, shout out to South Fulton creating a task force. A task force is essentially a group of law enforcement who's solely tasked to do one specific job. Most times you see these heat units and they got all these high-speed names to make them sound important. Most times when you see task force is related to guns and drugs, maybe human trafficking or something like that. But in short, a task force is just a group of law enforcement whose sole task is to address these problems. I think that's actually smart because I think this problem is pervasive enough where a task force would be something that's beneficial. So shout out to them for creating a task force just to target squatters. And let's see how Georgia is pushing and enforcing this new law to protect homeowners.
Special task force just to go after squatters armed with the authority of this new law.
I know everybody thinks you can go in the house and squat and sit there. That law changed the other day. That law changed the other day.
When police officers knocked on the door of this South Fulton home this month, armed with new powers to cite squatters criminally on the spot, the suspected squatters ran out the back door.
All these fake leases, and I got receipts for this, and I rented this. Nope. That's over with.
So we're basically putting these squatters on notice. The laws change.
Y'all squatting in my house.
It was a very different scene earlier this spring when police were called to Paul Callan's DeKalb County home.
They'll break in your house and then use the law to stay in there.
Where is it? You have the lease, man. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, bro, you got a full lease.
Police body camera video was rolling as officers were handed what they suspected was a fake lease.
So you got somebody with a fake lease?
Yeah, I think the lease is fake, but it's no way I can prove it.
So the officers just left, told Callens and the suspected squatter it's not a criminal matter.
This will take time. Like, we can't put you out because we're not here for that. And he have to deal with it with law courts and so that.
They shouldn't be in there for, a minute. They should be, out immediately.
Are you selling a squatter home right here? After an exclusive Channel 2 Action News hidden camera investigation and a series of viral Channel 2 Action News squatter stories, Georgia lawmakers rewrote the law on squatters, spelling out that this is a crime that must be dealt with in magistrate court in a matter of days, not weeks or months.
Well, this is no longer a civil matter. Once this law was passed, it has now became a criminal offense.
Hi, yeah, it's Justin Gray from Channel 2. Are you squatting in this home?
Are you squatting in this
This is
home?
one of the first houses South Fulton police visited under the new law just last week. They determined the suspected squatter is in the eviction process with the corporate landlord who is looking to recoup $60,000 in unpaid rent. You feel like you all can...
God, whoa, hold up. I just pulled this clip up. 60,000 in unpaid rent. Squatters is not only taking people property, but 60,000 in unpaid rent. That's crazy. We saw what the law was before. Now they got a task force. It's some criminal stuff. So that's definitely going to help. But damn, $60,000 in unpaid rent in Georgia. They probably been squatting in that place for like 2 years.
React quicker now.
Absolutely. I think with the current law that is now in effect, we will be able to react more proactively.
Let's go back to Paul Callan's home. Channel 2 Action News cameras were there the day marshals evicted Takesha Bailey from the house. But look what we found right down the street a few weeks later. Criminal trespass notice. DeKalb Marshals been evicted by the DeKalb Marshals office. Jane Doe evicted here according to the paperwork, but look at the belongings. See anything familiar? How about the same suitcase? We noticed the luggage tag here, Takesha Bailey. That's the same woman at the other home. According to court records, the alleged squatters here claim to have been scammed. That's the same thing Takesha Bailey says about Paul Callan's house.
Miss Bailey Cap, she's definitely lying. I did a video where I talked about why a squatter would show a bogus lease agreement and say they were a victim of a scam. The bottom line is it takes away from any criminal intent. I didn't commit a crime if I was scammed or finessed, as they're saying they were, which is bull crap, but it would take away any criminal intent. So they technically would have a semi defense if they were actually going to civil court or potentially criminal court. That's why they present a fake lease.
House. Bailey told me in an Instagram. Takesha Bailey says about Paul Callan's house. Bailey told me in an Instagram message that she's no squatter, that she is a scam victim who was evicted from suspected squatter homes twice in a month.
So yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I literally spent half of my tax money in here. I'm here with my kids.
It's crazy because
She lying like hell. You got scammed twice in a month with a bogus lease scam and you ended up in somebody else's house. Nah, that's she full of I
We
love
will
it.
be able to
She full of
react
it.
more.
Keisha Bailey from the House. Commercials. See anything have been scammed? That's the same thing Keisha Bailey says about Paul Callen's house. Bailey told me in an Instagram message that she's no squatter, that she is a scam victim who was evicted from suspected squatter homes twice in a month.
So yeah.
We don't believe
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally
you. You
spent
need
half
more
of my
people.
tax money to move in here. I'm here with my kids.
It's crazy because they're just gonna find the next victim and get out of that one.
But under the new Georgia law, suspected squatters now will immediately be issued a criminal citation.
So y'all pass the word around.
All right, a criminal citation. I tell y'all, when I heard of this, I personally wasn't a fan of getting a criminal citation. A criminal citation is issued for low-level misdemeanors. Hey, here's a citation. You show up to court on this particular day to deal with this particular charge. I would be honest, maybe just because I'm not a squatter and I'm a homeowner, hey, if you squatting in somebody's house, that shit should be a felony, in my personal opinion. A low level felony, but it should be a felony because if it's a low level misdemeanor, if it's someone's first offense, they probably aren't looking at any real harsh sanction, no jail time, maybe some fine and unsupervised probation or something like that. So, I think squatters, the books should be thrown at them, and just doing that, if it's proven that you are a squatter, should be a low level felony at least.
All this squatting the other day.
And so, under the new Georgia law, suspected squatters are supposed to immediately be issued a criminal citation and have 3 days to present a lease. If that lease is fraudulent, this goes from a misdemeanor case to a felony. Another thing with the new law is that it doesn't have to just be the homeowner who reports this. Now, anyone, a neighbor, an HOA can call police and say, we want you to investigate this squatter home.
And it looks like what you found, though, was some of the people renting the homes didn't know they were squatting. They were giving their money to a company that was being bad with them.
We see that in some cases. We also see people saying that, and that is what gets worked out in court. That is what these magistrate courts are going to decide.
Wow. A lot going on. Justin, thanks.
All right. Long story short, I actually think that that's generally a good look. I think it's generally a good rule. I think that it probably should be a low level felony instead of a low level misdemeanor. But all in all, hey, shout out to Georgia.
Georgia's new tougher penalties against
for
squatters are now the law of the land.
Shout out to Georgia for actually doing something to prevent people from taking over. So now this same county in Georgia, let's take a twist and we're gonna take a look. We're gonna take a look at an article of squatters in this exact same county in this exact same city in Georgia, the same town. We're going to take a look at it because these may be the second worst squatters that we ever talked about on the channel. The first worst were in New York and they deleted somebody. I don't think it gets any worse than that. But these guys were pretty bad in their own right. Hence why they made the thumbnail in tonight's video. 4 squatters arrested. Let's see. All right, 4 squatters arrested at a South home. Neighbors say they ran an illegal strip club. That's wild. You got somebody who don't even belong in your neighborhood. They come to your neighborhood under the false pretenses just squatting in somebody's house, and then they open up an illegal strip club. That's crazy. But we got to talk about this, okay? People in Metro Atlanta community said their nightmare is over after a SWAT team went in and arrested 4 people they claimed were nuisance neighbors. Channel 2's Tom Jones went out to the city of South Fulton on Monday where police said they found 2 stolen cars, a stolen gun, stolen IDs, and credit cards inside the homes. Now, we think these squad stories are real light, but from the look of these guys, they got stolen cars, guns, credit cards. They running a legal boom boom room up inside there. These squad stories can get real ridiculous. You can have people come and squat in your neighborhood and potentially become your neighbor and turn that shit to a meth lab. Like, it's possible, and that type of stuff does happen. Neighbors told Channel 2 Action News that the people who lived at the home kept them up all night with parties and non-neighborly activities. It says not partnering. They had a legal strip club on the weekends. One neighbor said people who lived in Thaxton Reserve community say they lost plenty of sleep the last 4 months because nightmare neighbors at the home. 4 months. That's crazy. Neighbors told Channel 2 Action News there were piles of trash at the home. The people at the home raced in the streets. They also said the air often reeked of marijuana. They heard sporadic gunshots and even spotted a horse outside of the home. These dudes had stolen cars, stolen guns, credit cards, the whole nine when SWAT went in there. Not only did they have an illegal strip club and boom boom room, which is probably terrible because it attracts a certain type of customers, but these dudes just had a horse. I don't even know what the horse was for, but these dudes just had a random ass horse in the yard, just probably neighing all hours early in the morning. That's wild. Neighbors had complained to the police, but nothing happened until Sunday morning when a neighbor watched as a SWAT team marched towards the home. Officers went inside and one by one arrested 4 people. Police told Jones that on Sunday morning an officer came to the home after a license plate reader indicated a stolen car was there. Officers said they got to the home. The driver refused to come out. Once the SWAT was inside the home, police said they found the stolen car, IDs, and credit cards. There was a stolen weapon that was recovered from the residence. Neighbors said that after the 4 people were arrested, they learned that they were actually squatters who were living in the home. Police have been driving by, making sure no one comes back to this home. Diving, I can't read. The councilwoman, Ms. Gunn, said that the city council is discussing ways to hold corporations and owners of vacant homes like this accountable because they often breed criminal activity. All 4 suspects named below are facing multiple charges. Now, that is absolutely interesting, but that goes to show how most times we see stories of squatters, of people who are just occupying the home to not pay rent, to use it as their primary residence. But a squatter situation can easily turn into a place where crimes occur, serious crimes, drug transactions, illegal boom boom rooms, and the whole nine. So shout out to all of the states who've implemented laws to change them, and a big shout out to the folks in Fulton County, Georgia, for starting a SWAT team, a task force to specifically target squatters. Because I mean, real talk, that's corny. And shout out to all the homeowners who had to deal with squatters who actually respect the law. Because I can't I can't say that I would be pleased if a squatter was in my home when I went on vacation and came back. Now we're gonna take one more story before we close this out. This story is it's kind of a remix of an old scam that we've saw before, but y'all gotta let me lay the foundation, okay? You work hard and you want to work hard and build a nice home, maybe have a couple of kids, a dog, the white picket fence, the so-called American dream. And like anybody with a home, you want your home to be comfortable. You want it to be a oasis, if you will. So what do? You try to put all the little creature comforts in your home to just make you at peace. One of the places that we do this all the time is in our backyards. You may have DFD ain't got a pool. I don't stay in an area that's conducive to a pool. But folks in California, Texas, Florida, those warm ass places, Arizona, they may have pools in there. You may have under your deck seating. You may have a nice grill encased in brick and the whole nine, a trampoline, basketball court in the driveway so your son could work on the broke ass jump shots. I know because this is the type of stuff that DFD did. I was like, yo, let me get this trampoline so my daughter could work on the flipping. Let me get this court so my son could work on that broke ass jump shot. These are all the things that you want to do. And once I remember for a birthday party from one of my daughter's friends, her parents actually rented out a pool. And when they rented out the pool, I was thinking, like, oh, well, maybe they rented out a pool at, like, I don't know, community center or something like that. But no, they actually rented a pool, rented the backyard to a regular homeowner. They have sites out there where if you're a homeowner and you want to make a couple of extra dollars by the hour, you can rent out your backyard. If you got a play area, swing pool, you can rent it out for parties. And so when we did it, it was actually weird, but it actually ended up being decent. The way this homeowner had it set up, they had a separate ingress and egress. You can get in and out of the back area. They had a lounge, so you just weren't sitting out in the sun. They had a restroom inside that you can go to. So it was really laid out. You paid about an hour or something like, I think they may have paid $75 to rent it out for a couple hours where it was grilling on the grill, and it was cool. Only thing that kind of made it annoying is you eat, you swim, you do all this stuff, then you got to get in your car and go home. I'm typically not a fan of that. But we all want to work to make our space convenient. Now, we've seen in that last story people talking about getting fake leases, people posting someone else's property as being for rent, and people actually paying first and last month deposits to scammers, thinking that they moved in and they really haven't seen anything, gotten anything. We've seen all of this. So this is pretty much a remix of that scheme that relates to a person's backyard. So let's go ahead and cue things up. Y'all let me know y'all take on this scam. On the DFD scamometer, this is a low level scam.
Well, imagine strangers swimming in your backyard pool while you're not home, or maybe barbecuing on your patio. Imagine strangers swimming in your backyard pool while you're not home, or maybe barbecuing on your patio, all because a fraudster listed your property for rent and then pocketed the money. It happened to one Santa Barbara couple, and the I-team learned it could happen to you too. Eric Thune and his wife, Catalin, recently retired to Santa Barbara.
Finally decided to pull the ripcord and move out of the Bay Area.
They put their Northern California home on the market. And then about a week later, something odd happened.
I get a text from my pool guy saying, "Do you know there's people at your pool?"
Eric's home security cameras spotted a family heading to his backyard pool where they soaked up the sun.
My mind was spinning.
All right. Could you imagine you away from your home and you look at your Ring camera and there's somebody kids in your pool? I mean, hey, we got to look at the bright side. He looked and it was actually like a family there trying to have a good time in the pool. Imagine if like Eric would have looked at his Ring camera and it would have just been like a pool party for like some fraternity or something. Like they ruining his backyard. So hey, he actually lucked up that it is like as a family of four, they're trying to let their kids have a good time.
It was crazy to hear that, it's a violation, right? I mean, this is your property. You don't expect to hear that people that you don't know are there.
Eric's pool guy put the family on the phone. They told Eric they'd rented his pool through Swimply, a site where you can rent private backyards by the hour.
He said, "Your pool is listed there." And I said, "No, it's not. You're trespassing. You need to leave or I'm going to call the police."
But sure enough, Eric's pool was listed on Swimply, but he didn't do it. Apparently, a crook posted Eric's pool, snatching pictures of it from real estate sites to pocket the $46 an hour rental fee.
I'm shocked, right? How could somebody post a listing without verifying that they actually own the property?
A good question. We asked Swimply that too. The answer:
Eric a little naive. How can someone post a list and like without verifying it? Like, I don't know. Maybe this is just me, but like I probably would have reacted a little bit cooler than Eric did, like now if it was like a butt naked pool party or something, they'd have had to get the hell out. But a family of four in the pool, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh yeah, y'all trespassing, get out before I call the cops." Like, I don't know, that's kind of goofy, especially once I looked on the website and I saw that, oh snap, this is my pool. I probably would be a little bit more easygoing about the whole situation personally. But this is a low budget scam because like really how much money could they have gotten at $46 an hour? Let's say the people rented it out for 3 hours. Like I don't know if that's it's an easy scam considering you don't got to do anything and you get paid the money up front. But far as scams go, this is too much work. This is too much work and risk to be getting like, $120, $136, something like that.
Answer: they don't confirm the person listing the property owns it. But Swimply did say once a listing is posted, it's not immediately searchable on its site. First, the company uses fraud detection to catch bogus listings, which are removed within 24 to 48 hours. But that didn't happen for Eric, and Swimply didn't remove his fake listing until he reached out to NBC.
Excuse me, question. How would AI software or algorithm be able to detect a fraudulent listing? And their system clearly doesn't work because it didn't detect this one. So, I mean, I'm not a computer guru or anything like that, but I think it'll be tough to find an AI service that can detect a fraudulent listing without actually without actually looking up the owner and contacting the owner of the property. But let's take a look and see how easy it is to create a listing on here.
They can talk till the cows come home that they protect you, but I don't believe it.
The I team was curious about Swimply's fraud detection, so we teamed up with our sister station in the Bay Area.
Here's the pool I posted that I don't own.
Our I team producer listed a backyard pool for rent, but the property is owned by an NBC boss in the Bay Area. In turn,
I'm going to try to post a listing.
A Bay Area intern posted our producer's LA rooftop patio for rent. She grabbed the image from the real estate site Zillow.
It's asking me to finish listing.
Both properties were listed and immediately searchable on Swimply's site. The listings were there for weeks.
I think that's appalling, to be
They
honest.
can easily do it.
They can take listings for pools that they've never confirmed that somebody owns that property.
We asked Swimply what happened. It said the company's extreme growth resulted in some instances of fraud slipping through its cracks. It insisted fake listings are extremely uncommon, and it's committed to catching fraudsters. To help do that, it said it's added additional safeguards, like adding a button so users can easily flag suspicious activity.
I don't own this pool.
But even after this response from Swimply, our fake listings were still on the site until we finally took them down. Eric says it's a warning for all homeowners.
I just want people to know that this, especially if you've got your home for sale, you need to watch out for this. A lot of times properties are vacant for a long time.
Now, here's an easy way to protect your property. You can remove photos of your home from real estate sites, and we have step-by-step information for you about how to do that on our website, nbcla.com. This should help keep you.
I don't know. I think that I guess that's a good point, but if someone is injured, he'd be held responsible. May or may not be. It kind of depends, because I mean, let's just think of it from how these folks actually got it. They got it from this website where people can actually rent legitimate pools. I guarantee you, because we did one, I don't know what site they used, but we went to a place and rented their damn pool. It was clear language like, yo, you're assuming the risk of anything that occurs here on this property. So I think that in and of itself, even if they were to subsequently on the back end find out like, oh, we didn't actually rent the property, but the owner was like, you know what, y'all already did, go ahead, because enjoy your another hour or whatever. Just know that don't come back because we don't rent our stuff out. Like, I think that would be more than enough hurdle to get over that, because once they rent it, they're assuming the risk for anything, that would occur. Now, it would be different if it was an injury that occurred outside of the use of the pool, maybe. I don't know. Somebody slipped on a defective stair on their way to the bathroom and split their head open. Now, it may be more of an issue, more of a concern, but I don't know. With a house like that, I know they're not going to have any defective stairs, but it could be some risk there. I seriously doubt it. Just along the lines of how they actually got or believe that they had the use of the pool. These places aren't providing lifeguards, so I think is inherent that people understand that, hey, we aren't going to provide a lifeguard to watch your kids in this pool, so you kind of assume the risk, even if it was a bogus listing. Because think about it, had he never not been there, they used the property. Even though the listing was bogus, he would have had no issue with it. So that scenario, he clearly wouldn't have any liability. Even if he says, okay, y'all can go ahead and use the pool, I think there'd be very low likelihood of liability. And most, I'm not sure all, but most of my family members who in California who got pools like that, they a home pool like that, they ain't got a home pool that's like 12 feet deep or nothing like that. Both parents was there. I think there's very low risk. And even if something did happen, I think he would have some plausible, reasonable argument to potentially escape liability because it would essentially be a negligent claim, and they would have to say that this guy had a duty and he breached that duty and somehow. But I think he has a good argument that he didn't breach any duty that was owed, as long as it was nothing that was done due to something that was a defect. If it was something that was a defect, it could increase the obligation or the likelihood that he can have some culpability. But if he didn't have any defective things that went on and it was just an injury that was caused by chance or dumb luck, I think he would likely be fine. But that's wild. Like, I don't know. Imagine y'all came home and it was a gang of imagine y'all came home, it was like 30 people in your backyard and they just barbecuing, wrestling on your trampoline and everything. What would be your initial reaction? Like, I don't know. Like, as long as they weren't tearing my shit up, I probably wouldn't initially react just out of anger. I would just be like, yo, they in the yard, they not in my house. I would definitely have some questions, want to know what's going on. But if that were me, I knew and I found out that it was a bogus website or something like that. I mean, I don't know. If I pull up on them, I think I'm less concerned than if I'm not there. If I'm not there, it's probably going to be a little bit more concerned because you don't know who you want to make sure your home is secure. People aren't putting you in risk or jeopardy of actually breaching your house and going in and taking your shit. But chances are, if someone actually took steps to rent this from a website, is a low likelihood that they'll try to rent something from a website and finesse you out of your stuff by like breaking in your house. I think that's just a very low likelihood that it's nobody would do that. I think that would be wild actually if somebody did that. It'd be I'd be hot. I'd be hot. Someone is making money off my property and the pool service that I pay for. I caught trespassers hot. I don't know, man. I wouldn't like. I don't know if it's a one off like that. If it's a one off like that, I would. I don't know, like $46 an hour. Like I said, I would look at a family of four differently than if it was like a fraternity throwing a end of the year bash at my house. One, they would be picking the wrong house to have a big ass party at. But two, something like that, I would probably be more concerned with. But if it's just like a family of four, and I came in and they would bounce on the trampoline and shit, I would just be like, man, I still be upset, but I think I would be less hot about it. The $46 an hour, I personally wouldn't be tripping off of it. But that's just a recycle, a remix of people listing your property for rent and somebody knock at your door expecting to take possession of the keys because they done moved in, and unbeknownst to you, you have no clue. That's a actually more frustrating scenario, but this is one that we have seen before. Let me see, and who knows how many other ones slip through. Yeah, that's true. But these people got a pool. I'm sure they probably, I don't know. Like I'm guessing that this is the first time that happened to them because people who like trust me, that area where they stayed at, I visited there before. Ain't no cheap ass houses there. So I'm sure they probably got all sorts of video surveillance and everything to catch all of that stuff. But yeah, it could have happened before. Really, the blame in all of this is on the actual company for not using any due diligence, in my opinion, to confirm that people actually had ownership of the property. I think the biggest thing too is, or the question I have is, how did they actually pay for the service? Because it should be, I'm just thinking, most criminals aren't really that sharp. Let's just be honest. But I'm thinking if they created the website, they created a website on, they created a listing on this bogus, for this bogus rental on this legitimate website. They probably had a method to get paid through that website. So, I mean, the company should have some means to be able to at least identify who was paid, to what account, what method of payment was used. Because I'm sure that the people who rented it were smart enough not to pay offline off of the site. Like, yo, just pay me through Zelle and I give you a discount. Unless they did something like that, the company should have some recourse to be able to kind of reverse engineer it. The only thing that would jam it up is if they utilize a fake identity, a fake account, and all of that stuff to have the monies transferred to. I seriously doubt that because a $46 an hour pool scheme isn't indicative of somebody who would have a fake identity and fake accounts to be able to have money transfer. It actually costs more than $46 an hour to be able to do to be able to do that type of shit. So I don't think that this would be a difficult one for investigators to backtrack. You never know. Maybe they spent thousands of dollars or some intricate criminal organization who has a ring of these crimes and they're collecting $46 an hour from a bunch of different venues. But generally, I think it's an easy crime to kind of reverse engineer. The pool guy is the one that notified them. They look back at the camera after the fact. That's scary as a customer because someone could really get hurt from this scam. Pew pew. Yeah, I agree. Because hey, you go into somebody's yard. Luckily, they weren't there, but you go into somebody's yard, it's probably going to be a problem. I think we're starting to get some of the rain from that bad weather going across the country. But yeah, you could go into somebody's yard and it could get wild. I think that's more of the concern for me. You go in somebody's pool in Texas in that beautiful Second Amendment state. Yeah, it could end up as a long day. Hopefully, it would be somebody who actually got a level head because I don't know. If I see somebody tiptoeing in my backyard, that's a lot different than if I see like a family out there with pools. But people are crazy though. It could be, hey, people are crazy. Like people pull out firearms because someone parked in front of their house on the public road. So it is possible. I guess the best thing you could do, I'm not even really sure about. They said you can remove your views of your home. You can remove views of your home from online, and even that's not 100% because you got so many map services that has picture of your homes and your yard from aerial views. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's too easy. I think all the onus is on the company to do their due diligence, and I mean, it really is on the company because the person who renting the pool, they don't have no real obligation to check to make sure what they're getting is legit if they went to a legit website. That's my personal take. But I will let y'all know if I see anybody in my backyard. I'll let y'all know how I react. But that's it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Hey, the moral of all this is hey, states are coming around to change the laws. So squatters beware because some states are putting task force in place to get your ass up out of there, as they should. Shouldn't be a low-level misdemeanor, should be a low-level felony, but that's a start. And hey, your backyard might get rented out and you might be completely unaware. And the sad part is there's really no way to actually avoid it. Maybe you put a big ass sign that says, do not trespass, we don't rent our shit out, or something like that. But really, absent that, it would require you to do all of this check-in, and there's probably 50,000 different companies where you could rent a pool listing from somebody on the backyard. Definitely a situation that could elevate to a pew pew situation that we don't hope happens. Okay, that's it for this video. Y'all have a good weekend. Hopefully, y'all off tomorrow. Y'all can eat some leftover barbecue and all that. That's all I've been doing all day is barbecue. I smell like barbecue like right now. I smell like straight barbecue sauce and charcoal smoke. But y'all have a good one. Take care. Peace.